Hello, and welcome back to another edition of State Farm Neighborhood Tactics. We've spoken a lot about CLG's improvement and more specifically how Contractz and Palafox work together to affect the rest of the lanes and the map for CLG. So we're gonna start off with this gank here from Contractz, if Telstrator's not trolling me. He's gonna come into mid, they blow flash. Palafox is gonna end up here. We're gonna speed up a bit, because this ends up being important because of the way that Palafox holds the wave here. And then he's going to, typically what would happen here is he feints. They're actually gonna spot him out on the ward. So they know he's coming up here. But what's gonna end up happening is they still will go for this gank. Even as he backs on the ward, they're gonna zone LeTigress off entirely. So this is getting Dhokla ahead really, really well. A Blaze Olive is going to be able to push this mid wave in here. And that will end up crashing into turret. But the more important thing is that these two, A, are keeping LeTigress completely out of this, and B, are gonna be able to go in and kill him. And so whenever you're looking at a gank like this, you wanna be like, okay, what am I getting out of this? Am I going to be losing stuff in the mid lane? And previously when CLG would try to make these plays, they would end up losing a lot for it, even if they'd get the kill. But what happens here is that it puts Dhokla in a great spot. It ends up, Palafox is actually going to be able, because the wave ends up here, and this is something they pointed out in Cast 2 after it crashes, he's gonna TP in. A Blaze Olive already used his TP, so Palafox is able to come in, get all of this, even with a bot side play that happens later on, where CLG does not come out on top. This sets up Contractz really well to go around the map. It sets Palafox up ahead. It actually allows Contractz to revisit Palafox's lane later on and further get him ahead with a kill off of the flash that they blew. So I've really liked seeing these small improvements, and it seems like CLG is considering, like, even if I am losing this wave mid, right?
Yes.
We're still getting the kill. I'm able to TP back in. A Blaze Olive popped, like, blew his TP on this. It's such a positive play for CLG overall. And then Contractz just completely took over this game on Poppy.
100%. And it's something that I really loved about, like, Palafox's ability, like, playstyle, generally speaking, is that he is willing to drop waves for the greater good of either the top lane, bot lane, anything that is essentially they're putting investment in to the later portions of the game. It's something that Nisqy and Caps have done really well, and it's something that Palafox is setting in his own team to allow carries to actually flourish. And so yes, this game worked perfectly because he had the wave in front of him. But in the situation that he was planning for, he's going to drop a wave. That's going to be fine for him.
And in talking about CLG's growth, I think the most important thing is how they are considering how positive the play is going to be and not sacrificing a lot.
Well, I think growth is the key word here. When you look back at, like, spring numbers and realize that this is mostly the same team, you can look at just how rough a lot of their stats were early on. You can see that most of the team had really low KDAs. I know KDA is not a great metric of success, but at least showing these numbers, that a lot of them are really low. The goal differences are negative, and this is spring, right? Yeah, so a lot of the goal differences are quite bad, and the kill participations are pretty low. And then when you flip to this split, there is big improvements in terms of the goal differences. It's still not, like, super positive. It's not like they're smashing the league and they're the #1 team, but it's a substantial improvement from spring, both in terms of KDA, goal difference, and then kill participation, which I think goes directly into your point, is way higher. Huh? Okay.
I'm gonna say, I think I'm really glad you brought this up, especially when we're looking at the top lanes as well, because statistically it might not look super great for Dhokla, but A, he's been targeted a lot. And one of our primary criticisms of CLG when they looked a little bit less consistent in some of their games was like, we need you to be doing something on the map if the opponent's going to be targeting him that much. And then also Jenkins did go up against some
Smite tops.
Yeah.
That'll definitely
in spring. So I just wanted to point that out in case someone was going to detract from
It'll definitely skew the stats and make it a little bit tougher to make the one-to-one comparison up there in the top lane. But I think just the note of how many of those lines for the other 4 players had the word improved underneath. So all you need to know is that there's been an uptick in that statistical category between spring and summer for CLG. And perhaps the biggest single individual statistic that I want to call out, Mark, is Contractz specifically. We know what this guy's capable when he's playing at his peak. But there is a huge statistical difference in one category between spring and summer for this guy, and that's his deaths.
I mean, he's so aggressive, and when that's not clicking, he will die so much. I think that was like borderline the highest ever. I was doing a lot of digging into that, and so it was like 52 through what at the time was 11 games,
right,
averaging 5 a game. He has cut that in half through this split. So it is a massive improvement in his level of play. And you saw just yesterday him running over that game.
Absolutely. And I know people will come and talk about just like the overall changes in the meta from spring to summer. But if you just watch the team and how they play, they're more synced up. A lot of the times, Contractz individually is just making better plays happen. There'll be 1 or 2 games. The COVID game, the one that he had, the fever game.
The fever dream. He's like, did I ever play that game?
It was not a flu game.
The flu game, yeah, exactly. No, but like that one is like, okay, that you'll have moments like that. But in general, this team is having playable games like post 10 minutes. Because I remember in Spring Split, moment like, even if they had an early game lead, there will be that one error that just goes into another, like Lemmings, you would die, and it would just not look good whatsoever. But, oh, who's eating that?
Yeah.
Me, by the way.
Hey, Raz.
They're
What half-eaten cookie is that?
I'm a
Horribly
Cookie Monster
hidden on the set.
I'm a Cookie Monster.
We have these amazing drawers right here that you can just put anything in to avoid it being caught on camera.
Raz is just trying to gas up CLG, and he's getting called out by
But you know who is a
camera
treat?
operator.
Who's a treat?
Contractz.
He is
On the rip.
He is a treat.
So, like, I just love to see the progression that he's had on the Rift, and I think CLG right now are in a great position going into playoffs as well.
Contractz is a treat. Raz is going to finish his treat as we toss it on over to a TriCast of Pastrytime, Kobe, and Jatt for our final game of the day.
I think that man's had one too many cookies, if I'm being honest.
I mean, if you ever have ants, it's probably Raz's fault. If there's ever ants anywhere, it's his fault. That's what I've learned.
I'm eating right now, too. I mean, I'm eating pasta, though.
What is
and broccoli.
food? Yeah.
It's late, it's the last game of the day.
Last game of the day,
It's late in the
sustenance.
day, Kobe's
Yeah.
hungry. Had to go through some banks.
I'm a growing boy.
This will be fun. CLG versus Dig. Obviously, Dig have had a rough time of it, I think is a polite way to put it. But CLG certainly seems like they're trying to get themselves in, not just player position, because I think they're there at this point, especially with the cutoff being a bit more generous in summer, but you know, how high up the standings can they get?
I mean, the biggest thing I'm worried about for this game is top lane. Hoon did not have a good first game yesterday. 0-6 on that Gnar. He was getting blasted, and now he's going up against a big Dokes, one of the best 1v1 top laners we have in the entire league. So that, to me, is the biggest story of this game. Top lane, that should be bloody.
It's one of the most punishing lanes. I mean, there's literally only 3 lanes. It's the most punishing lane. For a new player to come in and try and succeed in, especially when you have a player like Dhokla who likes to try and play lane dominant stuff and really build his advantages through that way. So if you're CLG, knowing you're coming into this week trying to get a 2-0, you're licking your chops when you see a team trying to make a bunch of substitutions kind of last minute here. CLG should be looking to jump out to a lead in this one.
And I don't see any top lane protection bans coming out yet. You know, Gnar, Gwen, and Gangplank are the triumvirate of top lane right now. Definitely blind pickable, but he was making the Gnar not look blind pickable last time around. So we'll see. Jungle bans, though, I think are apt here. Contractz was also all over the map in their CLG win yesterday with that Poppy, Hex flashing over, gank after gank after gank. He's just been on a warpath.
I also have noticed today Blue Side has won all 4 games. I'm also kind of thinking about the power of the champions on the patch. I feel like Blue Side is probably better right now because of how many power bans you kind of have to throw out there. I think Talia is a really powerful first pick. You can see a CLG ban Zeri, not wanting to give that over. That's the highest picked AD carry on the patch. We'll see what they end up going for in first pick.
And I do like the Yone ban for Dig. I think it's a smart takeaway from CLG. It does mean we won't get to see it, which always makes me sad, but CLG will settle in here for a first pick. Going back and forth, having some fun. So we'll see what they want to select here. On the blue side, it is Azir.
Third one of the day.
Palafox Azir, baby. That was the big win over Team Liquid for CLG. He had huge Azir sweeps getting right in there. Strong laning as well. Not to mention, just on this patch right now, plenty of blind pick Azir going around because the punishment's not really there with Viktor getting taken down. Even that long range is there. Isn't as potent, so.
Corki's the big one that makes Azir king of Azir Corki because he's just Azir.
Okay.
Did you have any first pick Azirs yet today, Kobe? I've had 2 already. This is my 3rd one.
Yeah,
3 for 3.
First pick Azir is very, very profitable thus far. Bottom lane, though, you mentioned the Zeri ban. The only other AD carry that's up on the tier with Zeri right now, before we go to the next patch, has been the aggressive look. And Spawn, I've actually really liked, whenever Spawn gets a kill-oriented lane, one of these push bottom lanes, definitely have liked it. There's the Viktor I mentioned, though. Still doable into the Azir, laser farming.
Yeah, I think they'll probably go Renata on 3 unless it's taken away. That's the risk.
I'm gonna one up you and say that Dignitas will not go Renata on 3. Throwing this one out there.
You win today.
Gotcha today.
Yeah.
Finally, we get the Draven, though. Draven has been in literally 80% of Champions Q games over this last week. People have been not even just counterpicking Kalista. People were picking into everything. I'm so happy that the Draven is finally making it.
But what about the Pyke support with Kalista?
I'm not as intrigued by it.
Biofrost Pyke?
Draven,
Not
okay?
intriguing?
Draven into Kalista is so nice because
It is.
you do have the range advantage and you can just spinning axe auto trade with her, especially when you have the Renata behind you. And the problem with the Pyke into Draven is nice individually, but when you have the Renata with the Draven, makes it way more difficult to pull off those all-ins. Because Pyke is gonna have this shining circle on the ground where you can throw your bone skewer to try and nab the Draven, but the Renata can get the huge punish there. So we'll see how it actually turns out. This is the bottom lane I wanted though for a Dignitas that are at the bottom of the standings. They look the best when Spawn Biofrost super aggressive and going right into Luger and Poome here.
I think they should have just locked Kalista Renata, bam, bam. Because leaving the Renata to deny... Kalista Pyke, sure you can do it, but it definitely seems like Kalista Renata is the go-to.
If you pull it off and get that Pyke roaming around as well, you gank bottom lane first, give him some roam timers there. Pyke can definitely have the bigger influence on the Azir. So we'll see if he can actually make that happen. Jungles, though, immediately spring to mind. So Wukong banned out here, CLG trying to take away on a couple of these options. When you have already such volatile lanes, with the bottom lane definitely going to be looking like a lot of kill pressure there for either side. Junglers immediately are thinking, what level 3 jungle can I get? Because you don't even want to have to wait until level 4. See who can get down there quick.
And of course, you have some top lane bans against Dhokla there for Dig, which makes sense. At least is going to be taken out as well, which means we'll definitely not have a volatile top lane, right? Right?
I mean, it really depends on how confident Hoon would be feeling right now. They are saving his pick for 5. Trundle's an okay ganker. I literally think it would have been Lee Sin if that wasn't banned right at the very end by CLG.
Zhao, if you want to go super strong ganks right now, level 3, boom. Zhao is the biggest one and would be able to definitely win the level 3 over him.
See what CLG though have on their blue side. Do have to blind a top laner here for Dhokla. Not something he's too upset about. There is the Zen Kobe mentioned though. For Contractz does want to get aggressive early. We saw that yesterday from his Poppy. Well, I'm sure we'll be looking for a similar amount of ganks
I'm
here
sure
in
of
this game.
it. That is definitely guaranteed. Zhao, Draven, Renata, bottom side of the map. And let's throw a Gangplank ultimate into that bottom side gank.
Dhokla GP instead of a Dhokla Gnar right off the bat. He has tried to play against Gnar a lot, hasn't necessarily wanted to jump on the Gnar train, but...
So the hardest counter pick here would be Shyvana though. If you're like, Hoon, okay, you got blasted in the opener, right? Brush it off, give him the hardest Gangplank counter, you two-shot these barrels, Q for Shyvana counts as 2 auto attacks, plus you can run him down later. They don't have faith in him.
I got another option for you.
They don't have faith in him.
And they don't. GP is often picked as a counter to Ornn.
Yes.
So this is a tough one. This also happened yesterday with Solo against Bwipo. It's basically saying, okay, brother, we have Kalista. We're not coming top lane. We're not giving you a counter pick. Just survive, please. I mean, Trundle Ornn is such a weak topside. It's actually even worse than just having Ornn into GP, because even if Trundle comes up, I don't think they have kill pressure on GP after GP has his first couple items.
So the problem too for Dignitas is that even if they go bottom, Gangplank ultimate down there plus Zhao, you win the skirmish too. So CLG here, I do like this look. You mentioned Dhokla's been playing so many of these 1 vs 1 champs and split push champs.
Yeah.
But his ultimate, just use it on the bottom side of the map, play for bottom. You have the Draven.
Yeah.
Make sure you cash in on that Draven, and you win twofold because then you also shut down the Kalista early.
Very excited for the bottom lane. It is going to be kind of the obvious focus here for this game, but some very aggressive 2v2s will be happening there in the bottom half of the Rift. We'll see which team, I guess, can get the most people down there early. Going to be the difference maker there.
Yeah.
Because it's never really a 2v2, is it?
Not necessarily, and it depends how the early trading goes if Biofrost is able to land any spells early, because CLG might have 3 lanes of prio, which would give Contractz a lot of angles to invade very early on because he can get support and maybe really try and take over.
I would actually even count it as 4 lanes of prow early.
There's only 3 lanes.
Jungle is
Not a
many
lane.
lanes. Okay? This is a zigzag, connected, squiggly little lane of the jungle.
As a jungler, you're counting which lanes have prio. You'd be like, I win the 1v1, which means with prio I can take advantage. You can't just make a 4th lane.
The 4th lane
It's the jungle.
is the jungle. It's the 4D.
It's the motorcycle lane on the freeway. Is that?
It's actually the 4th
incredibly
dimension.
dangerous?
You know, I'm counting time here as another dimension. They actually win that dimension as well. Dignitas coming in for a little bit of early invade, though. With the lethal tempo, though, of course, Trundle, no slouch in the heads-up attempt at a duel, especially investing in Red Smite. Invest in Red Smite before they nerf Red Smite on live. Get it now. Get them while they're hot.
Yep. Buy high, sell at the same point. Just make sure you get.
Buy it
the
now.
side
Definitely sell it before next patch because next patch is the crash.
Trade in for blue, you know? Maybe try that one out.
Yeah, actually, yeah, blue Smite here picked up for the Trundle, so eXyu is out of there as far as the duel goes. Red Smite on 12-13 means Zin definitely will win the all-in. Blue Smite trying to invest in more slows for the Trundle.
Yeah. I mean, I can kind of think what eXyu's feeling with the blue smite right now, because he's saying that a lot of his lanes are going to be behind early, and he's probably going to have to gank if he wants his team to win, and Trundle not naturally the strongest ganker, so slows on slows, maybe gets something happening, and they're fighting.
Hey, let's go! Poome gonna pull one in there. Spawn going straight for it, but the Ignite already down. Spawn in trouble, level 1. It's absolute carnage in the bottom side, and Draven couldn't even cash in, still gets the first blood, but Bio finds one back, but Luger hunting for a second kill. eXyu goes in the wrong direction. Luger's gonna keep on ordering. One more is all he needs, and Luger finds 2.
Draven, maybe! This champ has been all over every single game of Champions Q. Always such a fruitful pick into the Kalista, and then the Pyke right at level 1 there. You see the power of the Renata.
Yeah.
Before the nerfs come in, this champion is too tanky for an enchanter, a ranged champion support. He land the handshake, and it's a disaster for Dignitas. 2 kills for the Draven, and I mean, early cash-in is not a huge deal, but it's
There's
more
no
pain.
that's the one bright spot. He didn't get the cash. There's
in
just 2
like 5.
regular kills. But watch this. That's a level 1 flashless Renata.
Hey, ooh, beautiful
Lethal
kill out of
tempo.
eXyu.
Boom,
That
boom,
should be a
boom.
kill. Oh, goodness, handshake. Gonna get him out of there. eXyu forced to flash away. Now into Pala he goes. The Pala is gonna flash away. Contractz still fighting. Pala swoops back in. And that's a kill onto the enemy jungler for CLG.
This is great. They came to play. I mean,
Game 5, baby. We want action. We want kills. This is what the people came for. CLG, Dignitas delivering. We knew it was going to happen this way, though,
Yeah.
when you lock in Draven lane versus Kalista lane on bottom side.
True.
With the Pyke coming through.
there's a certain Game 5 energy that exists, especially in NA scrim culture.
It certainly is. It's like, oh, nobody's watching. We can all do whatever we want.
That's one aspect of it, but there's more. We're gonna watch this one more time though. Luger, perfect axe placement so far. I believe he's gonna be able to get it on. He's gonna be able to have 2 spinning axes at the time, but they literally just flash root, and once that lands, they know they've already won. So
Kalista
it's
is
really
dead.
all about just landing the handshake, and it's over.
Great stuff there from Poome. Jumps in on it. And then this stuff too, Luger just walks back. Biofrost wanted that angle because he wants the Bone Skewer over his back to give him distance so he can walk away. But Luger knows this, doesn't give him the angle.
Actually, a really nice sidestep.
eXyu still ganking.
From Luger's eXyu. I mean, got to find something. You know, it's Blue Smite Trundle.
No chance.
Got to give it a go, but Palafox just gives him the old okey doke. Gets out of there.
So yeah, NA scrim culture. you play 5 games a day, and by the time game 5 comes around,
Biofrost ganks your mid lane.
you're willing to take a lot of risks. Worst case, you know, it's just game 5.
Yeah.
And you've already had 4 games of the day. The weird thing with LCS is this is their first game of the day, so you don't expect that level of reckless aggression, but that is what we're seeing, which is cool to watch.
Some would say their only game of the day, in fact, and the last game of the week.
Absolutely.
Well, I like it. CLG, though, after all the shenanigans, up 1,000 gold at sub 5 minutes. Is Noon Quiver at 3 minutes good? Just checking for a friend.
It is good, but it's also not the standard Draven build. What have you seen mostly in Champ Queue? I've seen tons of...
It's Eclipse. The majority is Eclipse,
yeah.
but Shield Bow is definitely there as well, so.
He will become relative... Like, if he's looking to scale in this game, and they're going to be trying to cut through an Ornn Trundle frontline, he will want to be able to reach into IE more easily than with the Eclipse build, so that makes sense why he's going with
I want to see some Gale Force action. I want some real all in there. Look for those execution kills. eXyu's bottom, no?
Yeah, wrapping around trying to make it happen. Luger, they're already with the flash, and they might just stand and fight the 2v3.
Oh.
In goes Draven. Luger wants the kill. He's not going to get it. Biofrost gets away, and now Spawn and eXyu still fighting, and Luger should go down. The last axe, though, does get some gold.
Did you hear that fan shout Luger? Just shout him into that kill. The last spinning axe did over 200 damage. Just squeezes out the 1-for-1.
Oh. We didn't see that.
No,
We're
sorry
talking about
about
the
it.
bot lane. So close for Luger being back to having heal. He does will that kill into existence, but man, eXyu pulling off a lot of ganks in this game.
Follow the bullet.
Got him.
Hoon just stands there, bounces off his shoulder.
Wait, Dhokla has first strike. I think he got some gold off that.
Oh, it's worth, baby. First strike.
One
Count
gold.
it.
All right, well, eXyu being active, which kind of needs to, even though Trundle's not the best ganking jungler, but gonna get active here down the bottom side as well. Kalista, Trundle, and a bit of Prio, easy to get this dragon as we watch this bottom lane exchange once more.
Yeah, this is actually quite nicely played by Dig. You can tell they have the appropriate amount of respect for the 2-kill early Draven.
Yeah.
eXyu backs off during the ignite. They wait for the handshake. Biofrost immediately jumps out, doesn't want to give him a kill target, and they get the rend. Then it gets a little dangerous, though. As hard as you try, as safe as you can be, the spinning axis still just barely enough damage there eked out by Luger.
Another fight here. Contractz, though, fighting Bio, going to be forced to flash away. Handshake finds it, eXyu the target. Contractz
Through
goes
the
in,
turret.
Boom just going for it. And Luger's just run through everything. And now Contractz not going to get bailed out. Biofrost able to catch that kill, but Spawn is going to go down. It's Poome that collects it. Palafox here as well. Now level 6. Has the flash. Blue has it too, though. Doesn't want to overcommit. Handshake's going to miss, and Dig will get away. Luger now pulled in. There's the flash burnt. But no one can follow for Dignitas.
The amount of just going for it in this game is out of control. Luger walked through the bot turret while Contractz was fighting in the jungle to try and make it there. There were 2 flash forwards alone from CLG in that play.
And there is reason behind it from CLG because they know Dhokla's post level 6. This is what we've been waiting for. As I said from Champ Select, they've got the extra power of the Gangplank ultimate to come through, but nicely kited there by eXyu. Walks around, gets the smite off the Gromp. They don't give the bailout to Contractz, and so Dignitas actually, at least they got a kill in it, and the Gangplank ultimate is now down.
And honestly, they have the Ocean Drake. They're only down 1,200 gold. Yes, a lot of it is on the Kalista, but if they can get Ornn, Trundle, Viktor, that's still a pretty strong team fighting core. It's relatively difficult for CLG to stack magic resistance, so the Viktor damage can still be very strong in team fights if they get there.
Yeah, the whole 1,000 gold advantage is all Draven over Kalista right now.
Yeah.
Giant money bags down there. See on the next buy. Does upgrade to the early Berserker Greaves, though, for extra move speed for chasing down. We have a rotation from Contractz. Palafox, after pushing in mid, moves over to secure this Rift Herald.
There's going to be a fight, man.
Yeah, they get it. Oh, actually wanted to
no.
try and steal it, but now he's just completely trapped with no flash. That's going to be an extra bit on top of the Herald as Palafox gets some gold.
Everyone's been there. You feel like you might be able to steal it. You don't. Your flash is gone. You're going to look back on that one and wonder why you flashed in, but you know.
So it's definitely not worth it to flash to try and steal a Rift Herald, because if you know you're going to die 100% either way too.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
I will wager he didn't know he was going to die 100%. Now he does. But when he flashed, he didn't.
But when was he at? Was it like 98%?
Maybe it was like 65. We don't know.
Okay.
We're not in his head.
Cool. Good. Just checking. How's Australian math over there, Pastry? Where we calculate at?
I mean, I'm just thinking, like, even if he gets it, the chances of him actually picking up the eye also seem astronomically low.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, in this game, you don't just get the eye when you kill the Herald. You have to walk over and pick it up as well.
I do really like the course of this game, though, because CLG, they very clearly drafted, had this early game plan, and they just force. Contractz on the most aggressive possible level 3 jungler, and just boom, in there, over and over and over. Forcing here with the Xin Zhao as well as the bottom lane, and they're right back to it again. Boom caught.
No flash.
Couple, Biofrost here, no ulti though, but Luger's just going in for it. You have to make sure it happens. Bailout there. Poome not going to get bailed out, but it will be a trade. Draven gets some more gold. Make it a second as Spawn goes down.
The recipe. They've got all the ingredients. Gangplank ultimate back up. Boom. Force another fight. So Poome does go down again. They fail another attempted bailout, but it is still going to be an increase here for CLG.
You now have 5.7k gold at 10 minutes for Luger's Draven. He's going to be very, very large this game. And it just makes sense. They're just repeating this play over and over, as you say. Yes, they're really close to having it work out even better, but it's still positive plays every time they do that.
I mean, Poome has 4 deaths, but Luger has 5 kills.
Yeah.
It's worth it in Poome's mind here. The ratio is correct.
I mean, the Australian math just works out.
Exactly.
5 greater than 4, so
I mean,
I love it.
Poome
Is it
good.
different in American math, Cody?
Yeah, it is.
You ever done math upside down?
down.
All right, well, shield blow down there for Luger as his size is increasing, as Jatt mentioned throughout this game. Now going to be, I mean, only going to get scarier at this point.
Yeah.
CLG up about 3,000 gold, and again, that is pretty much Luger sitting almost 2k clear of his opponent's spawn in this game. As Contractz even going to shadow down here with the Herald, just in case there's any more fighting to be had.
Should we now broach the topic of Dignitas scaling Ornn? You know, stuff to look forward to later. You know, a little Viktor scaling.
Yeah.
You know, got some options very far in the future. And this is also not saying that CLG don't have scaling, but that's kind of the topic at the point when you have a almost 3k gold lead, which after this Rift Herald crashes will be over 3k for Logic Gaming.
Yep. But Ornn items are valuable.
Correct.
Exactly.
Trundle can steal statistics, and Viktor gets free upgrades on his spells.
Hell yeah.
So those are 3 positive things for Dignitas.
Jatt's 3 keys to positivity.
Also, once they do inevitably start getting kills, Pyke also
Inevitably.
Pyke
Yeah.
also generates gold.
That's also good.
So if you
Good
press your
positive
R
mindset.
on the spot of a death, it counts as more than a kill.
I like it. The synergies.
I like the optimism.
Yeah. On the flip side.
The best part is the inevitability of those kills.
Yeah. Eventually, it'll happen.
Got him.
Going for it, I guess.
Got him with this one at least.
Yeah, Hoon with the strike there. Biofrost, oh goodness gracious. Handshake in, Draven goes through, and Biofrost lives this time. Has to flash though.
That's 70 Draven stacks, by the way. So the only problem with getting so many kills on Draven, you don't get as big executes with your ultimate.
You don't get those
You ever think
nice
about that?
3-second long highlight videos of plus 1,000 gold.
Yeah.
That's unattainable,
Yeah.
this game. Dignitas is denying him that pleasure.
What do we have to do to line up all the members and have just that beautiful ultimate cut through them all?
Hoon, by the way, having a pretty good time with this counter pick.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is
The gold's gonna be even, but
He
don't worry
actually
about
is
it.
doing quite well.
all the Gangplank ultimates are also, you know, going to the other side of the map. So
Yeah.
the team is kind of feeling it. That's part of the big reason of the pick is you know you're going to be able to farm still. Give your team some extra giant slows to chase down kills with. We'll say Dig have been scrappy, and they've got back quite a few of these kills, denied quite a few of these bailouts from CLG.
Yeah, I do like the 133 CS at 1330. The few times we have looked up there, it was missing Ornn ultimates, but between that...
And hitting one, that long one.
True. Between the cuts, he has actually been doing really well.
So what you're saying is the one time we looked up there was
Yeah, we're doing him dirty.
ulti. Yeah. It's all us. Palafox, you're gonna get another blue buff. This is not the first time he's taken Dignitas' blue away. 3 minutes till the dragon is up, but we're not gonna be playing for a quick sulk here, given that they've split the drakes nice and early. However, Luger keeps on rolling on the Draven as he's gonna take the bottom outer tower as well for the extra money.
He's actually just skewing the
Let's fight.
the graph.
Let's fight.
Contractz, goodbye! That's a kill for Bloom. Kill for someone. Draven ulti in there. Oh my goodness. Palafox. Whoa. He got it there. Contractz is still alive. Getting himself bailed out. eXyu finally going to get the kill they were looking for, but CLG damage already done. Luger going in, just barely going to miss. The axes there tripping up eXyu's feet. And somehow it's a 1-for-1.
Contractz bailed out, but then he flashed in more to chase them with like 20% HP. That's how aggressive this team is. Oh my goodness. Dignitas get one back, but 4.8K. Now the lead for CLG. Let's take another look at it. This is actually so funny. I thought for sure after the bailout he flashes away, but
yeah,
the face check into the brush.
I mean, a lot of upfront burst damage. Contractz not super tanky at the moment, but then, like right there, he gets bailed out. He's alive. Perfect. You're done. So he didn't see Biofrost there.
He did as well. Once he did see Biofrost when he got into vision, he E'd knowing that Biofrost was going to try and R him.
Yeah.
So he dodged the R at least. But yeah, like you're saying, didn't initially know that he was fully chasing them. I will say too, Poome flashed to get the initial bailout onto Contractz, just to even get him into that position. That's the true support. This Renata just trying to keep up with the bloodthirsty teammates.
Poome is definitely dying again soon. Like every time he flashes forward this game, he becomes a target.
Fair enough. The worthy support sacrifice, though.
It's always been positive.
I mean, Luger's going to get another kill by that metric. Lining one up here is potential fight breaking out near this Herald.
It's so unlucky the objective bounties aren't up yet.
Well, Contractz is going for it. On we go to eXyu. Gonna try and fight the enemy jungler. Contractz pops the ulti. Here's the Ornn ulti to come through on the other side, but Poome already getting himself killed. Jatt the Prophet finds it as eXyu does go down to Contractz, and Hoon now in trouble, pushed back by Pala. As that's a double kill for CLG's jungler.
Oh boy. The tanks were separated from the damage, so the tanks just slowly died up top. But yes, Poome did die. We knew it was coming, but it was worth it. They traded up again.
I also like how that Ornn ultimate, Jatt just turns and looks at me and points at the screen as the Ram is just charging off into the distance. Another good force, again, though, from Contractz, because he knows he has the upper hand. So Xin just forces into him, pops the ultimate. He's got Palafox behind him. It's like, come on, just give me that extra DPS behind me, and they know they go +1 on the kills again.
I mean, this game getting set up nicely by CLG. We have the obvious plan of set up bottom lane. Obviously, Luger still having a great time, 5-1 and 2. But Palafox has also scooped up a number of kills in the exchanges that have happened. CLG up 5K at under 20 minutes, and that's not slowing down. I mean, they have another Rift Herald. They can attack just about wherever they want, as Blue's going to eat a big barrel there from Dhokla, but no need to rush. Take the Dragon, maybe drop the Herald mid after. CLG cruising right now in this game.
Yeah, and Palafox is also just kind of the late game insurance. He's the sole magic damage on the team. He was the first pick of the draft, and he's just doing very well, as you mentioned. So they'll be very comfortable in later game team fights.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be in the position to kill the Ornn, which is all that they really need from him. The Kalista has such a hard time already fighting into so many of these champions. The Gangplank barrels, Draven himself from lane, it doesn't get easier for the Kalista to ever fight, so it's going to be very difficult for Spawn to have an effect on this game. Azir outranges, Zhao closes the range and then creates issues as well.
But how much gold does Pyke give?
What's his cut?
Yeah, has he gotten any cuts?
0 is my guess.
It's been close. I think he'd hover over the ultimate, Kobe. Nope.
0.
0 so far.
It's a goose egg right now.
But it could be more. There's potential.
Your cut is 0 right now.
All right,
here we go.
Trouble.
Cut him.
Oh, good ulti though as he moves out of there, but no follow up unfortunately for CLG. Poome's still a little low. The Viktor ulti is chasing onto Contractz, is eating a decent amount of damage, but all the while Dhokla being left alone in the top side of the map, and Luger is just face checking the enemy.
Yeah, this is CLG paying Dhokla back. They say, all right, we'll hang out with 4 in mid lane. You can get that turret top, but this is get a cut.
Little too far, flash out the way, ignite. There's the bone skewer flip into the Viktor slow, into the stun, into the kill, and there we go. Biofrost with some bonus money.
300 gold extra. Now, instead of being down 7,000 gold, they're down 6.5.
Got him. It's a little thing. It's a little thing sometimes. It's Biofrost dueling Palafox. Not really a fight he can reasonably win. Palafox also, I think, has item number 2 on the way. He's been kind of beasting through everyone with just the Leandries, so even as the Soul Magic damage shot, it's going to be more than enough at this stage of the game in particular, as he does indeed have Shadow Flame finished.
Also, I always feel like gifts are worth more than the actual value of the item you're being gifted, you know? So it's really the intent behind it here.
Okay.
Your cut is
It's the
actually, exactly, it's the thought, it's given with love.
I
Extra
mean-
300 gold plus the Biofrost, you know he's got your back.
It's a smart design for the champion because it's an assassin
You know it was
player.
a busted design until so recently, where it was double dipping, and Pyke would also get a your cut, and they had to had to nerf him.
Yeah,
and they
it's a
took
lot-
out
it's a lot of-
an extra one of the extra parts of the your cut,
Yeah. But
yours and mine.
it seems like such a selfish champion, but it forces you to be supportive. It's like, I did steal the kill. But here.
I get the glory. You can still have the gold. CLG, they're the ones getting all the glory in this game. Can they get to the 7K advantage? They get it right now. Baron setup in operation. Dignitas, right at 20 minutes, you're already fearful. You're already like, oh my god, they have so much damage. They could at any time take anything they want on the map. That's what this level of gold advantage will do for you.
It's also a level where previous iterations of CLG would start throwing the game. So it is somewhat important that they're able to close this out soundly. They have such a big lead. They have item spikes on everyone. Can they get the vision, wait for the right pick, and get the kills to secure Baron or in the game, or just get enough control to take the Baron? Let's see if they can pull it off.
Well, Biofrost actually had to walk through a lot of very scary territory, but Contractz now going to be the first one caught. Here's Ornn ulti on the way. Dhokla already popped the ulti as well, and the damage is just a little bit too much. Spawn, though, is going to hop away, but eXyu's not so lucky, and there's the double out of Luger. Looking for the third as Blue eats an axe, and Hoon now on the front line. Going to be burnt down by Dhokla, who TP'd in, and CLG don't even need the pick. Dig just pick a fight and lose.
Yep, they did it. They pulled it off. Dig, I mean, technically, Dig was trying to get control back up the Baron area. They have a massive gold disadvantage, so CLG just threw themselves at it.
Worked out.
All right, Baron should be acquired. There's not a very high probability of a steal with Pyke and Viktor being the only two ones left alive, and CLG cruising ahead in this game. This is a big point that you bring up, Jatt, talking about the past iterations of CLG. Yep. For me, it's now kind of take it as granted that this CLG roster is so much improved from the previous iterations that, yes, it actually is expected that they do these levels of stomps against the bottom place LCS team. And it's actually been a very long time since CLG has been in this position where you go, oh yeah, for sure, they're gonna get a 11,000 gold lead, 22-minute stomp versus the 10th place team.
They spent almost 2 years
rebuilding
as the 10th place team.
Okay, yeah. Well,
no, they really did. And even last, they won 6 games. So it's almost credit to what they've done this split that this was expected, and then they delivered on it. There's been so many, it was actually counter logic. You expected them to win, well, of course, they're going to lose. And you kind of had to play that game for years. But at least in this moment, they're performing to their level.
Yeah, CLG fans have been trained to be very cautiously optimistic. They can start to come out of the shadows now.
It's a lot of gold there for Luger. 13,500 just cruising here in this game. CLG's total gold lead, by the way. FTX gold advantage.
Hey,
Hoon got
12,000
the
gold.
objective bounty. Get the objective bounty, so chopped it down a little.
That's
but
got to be maximum objective bounty, right? Because it is increased for how far you are behind. And if you're behind over 11,000
I hope
gold,
so, Kobe.
it's got to be maxed out.
Extra 300 gold is what it tells us.
Yeah.
And gonna be more as well. CLG just busting down towers with this Baron. Already took the inhib tower in the bottom side. Gonna keep on growing that gold lead here in mid. Gonna have 2 inhibs down, and the base is ready, but CLG are gonna leave. A minute left on Baron. They've decided to fall back to the Cloud Dragon.
All right, flip side.
Uh-huh.
We've already talked about how many ways they could be just setting up to get more bonus gold. So think about it. They now have access to 2 waves of super mutants. They can farm those.
Oh my god.
It was already the free Ornn items, which are starting to cash in. They've given over so many stats. Trundle now has more stats to steal.
And
their subjective.
They could give the Ornn solo lane experience so that you boost and you have synergy with the Ornn items that you're talking about for your extra value, extra comeback. Needs to start handing out these upgrades,
Don't give that gold to Kalista Viktor. Ornn. Because he'll give it back. There's actually, there's like 1,000 gold of value. I've never thought about this. There's actually about 1,000 gold value in an Ornn upgrade. So it would be worth it to even give upwards of like 700 gold, like 2 waves, away from a Viktor just so you can give him super loops.
Get that experience. Experience funneling, baby. All right. Dignitas secure their red buff, baby. Top side is the only one left up for CLG to bully down, and they're going to go straight for it. Dhokla farming around the jungle, looking to pick up any scraps. Anything Dignitas left behind in there?
Yep.
Any notes? Any little buried treasure pieces for this pirate? They'll mosey on over to finish it up with the rest of the team. 12.5 thousand gold. And at the gate's knocking.
Little FTX Gold Mountain there for CLG. So it's going to keep on growing. CLG just slow and steady, clinical, easy.
Yeah.
Breezing through the game. I mean, and the way they got here is the exciting part, right? Very aggressive 2v2. People constantly getting involved. Contractz continuing to be very proactive on the Rift. I mean, this is the game you want to see from CLG given their current form.
Absolutely. Also, just to go back to champs like Kobe, seeing the Draven pulled off like this as well gives him a lot of confidence going forward.
Yeah, this is not Seraphine. Luger's early weeks, if you remember, also a great Seraphine player. But it has to be freeing here for Luger to be playing Draven.
They came in and drafted in, and they're like, all right, who wants to have some fun? Luger, first one to answer.
Yeah.
Me, let's go. Give me a Gangplank ultimate. Give me a bunch of ganks. Draven, baby. Let's see. All right, how many stacks does he have now?
Yeah.
Oh,
He's got 103 stacks. How much gold has he gotten from Adoration? 1,358 gold. He did get a 755 cash, and that's legit. Here's Contractz. He's in.
Contractz going for spawn, just going straight in there. Not afraid. The Renata ulti out. Luger already dominating. eXyu just evaporates in front of my eyes. And CLG just going to keep on trucking, taking out the top side as well. 3 inhibs down. Tower's now falling as well. CLG can, I don't know.
This will likely do it. We'll see. Dhokla's got to get that wave in. Poome flashes.
And
you know what that means.
And he's not dead yet, but I do know what it means. His demise is imminent, but CLG's win seems to be all but inevitable. Contractz gonna get rendered to bits, so Palafox, big old Scoopy Whoopy, pushes 2 into the waiting arms of CLG. Does die, though.
No. I knew you guys were cursing it.
Does die, though.
I knew you guys were cursing it.
Oh, boy.
Dignitas defend. Dig are alive.
And they got a lot of bounties. They did not kill Luger yet.
Poome also did
The inevitability of Dignitas, Kobe.
Let me hear those dig chants, baby. Coming back.
Dignitas. It's 3 syllables. It never caught on like TSM for some reason. I don't know what that reason was.
Reason. The heyday. Do you remember back to the heyday of Dignitas, Jatt?
Yeah, dude.
Got some,
when Jatt was jungling.
some good memories of it.
IPL 3 champions.
There you go. Let's take another look at the stumble on the finish line here. Poome flashed in, bunch of tower shots. Dhokla taking some tower shots, bunch of spears in Contractz. Get ripped out.
Yeah, Dig cleared the minion wave very quickly.
The swoopy whoopy, but no damage behind it because Luger got stunned up in the gravity.
Super clutch gravity field by Blue there, actually.
Yeah.
The main damage source, well, both main damage sources were out of commission there. Palafox because he went for the scoop to whoop, and Luger because he was stunned.
Jatt, I have a quick history
Yeah.
thing I want to check with you.
Yeah.
When IPL 3 happens, was it Dignitas then?
Yeah.
Or was that? Oh, I thought that was the tournament that got you.
This is literally going back to 2011.
Yes, this is a long way away. Baron, by the
But-
way, for CLG, nice and easy.
Yeah, the origin of Dignitas was actually, it was a team called Rock Solid.
Skara,
that was actually 4th place to qualify for the Season 1 World Championship before I joined. I joined like pre-Season 2, which was still in 2011, and we needed money to travel to tournaments.
Yep.
So we seek sponsors. It was between Dignitas and some other like way worse team. So we picked Dignitas, and Odie flew us out to IPL 3 as Dignitas, I believe before our jerseys had even been mailed to us.
Nice.
But we were Dignitas.
Oh goodness, this GPO is looking kind of spicy. We're gonna have to get out of there. Flashes out of the way, inhibs back, but not for long. CLG knocking down 1 in mid. Only 1 tower stands between them and the Nexus, and I guess Dignitas as well. But CLG this time, surely, Kobe, surely the game's gonna end. Spawn gonna get caught. Good little stopwatch there. The damage back on blue. Ooh. Very nice. Luger actually caught in stasis. Oh no, he's gonna get bailed out, but he doesn't get the kill. Still the Nexus open, and eXyu low there as Contractz looks to try and get the snipe there with the W. Doesn't grab it, but Spawn's gonna get crushed by the rest of the damage, and Palafox left alive. That's more than enough carry. CLG are gonna sweep their weekend.
Never in doubt. But honestly, important weekend for CLG as they farm DPM on the Fountain to get the 2-0. This was the situation FlyQuest was in last week. Needing a 2-0 against Dignitas and Golden Guardians, they execute, and now they're sitting at 8-5.
Really, really great stuff from this team this split. I have to say, there's been so many doubters still. After their one win versus Evil Geniuses, still a bunch of doubt. After they followed up with taking down Team Liquid, still a bunch of doubt. One of the biggest things to me that points to the success of CLG, the continued success here and the sustained growth, is that they have had Dhokla carries, they have had Palafox carries, they have had Contractz carries, they've had Luger carries. Every lane
Poome,
on this team, they have had Poome carries. Every lane has had games where they pop off.
Also, if you haven't seen the little 1-minute content bits that CLG has been putting out, like Palafox and the Nook that he lives in at the CLG studio, so good and so digestible. Definitely go check those out on the CLG Twitter if you have not seen them. Good personality on this team as well.
Always feels better when they're winning, and CLG have been doing quite a lot of that lately.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're expected to take a win here, but a resounding finish to their weekend here. CLG gonna end week 6. Feeling pretty good. 2 weeks left in the LCS regular season. CLG, we already said at the top of this game, in playoff position. It's just a matter of how high.
Yeah, they're definitely going to be in playoffs at 8 wins and 8 teams making playoffs. But the question for them is like being an actual real participant of playoffs, right? Going in there as a top 5, top 6 team, really looking to win playoff series and advance their way up to have a world's chance. When we talked to Dhokla at the start of the split, that's what he believed this team could do.
The top 3.
He said top 3, and you need to set your goals high if you want to have an impressive split. That's what they've done, and so far, they have a chance.
It would be very counter logic to come into a split with EG, 100 Thieves, TL, C9, and even Fly now, and be like, oh yeah, top 3, no worries. Easy
I mean,
peasy.
they are on the road, and it is a fun road to watch. This game, action-packed from the very beginning, willing to throw down the Draven. You see it so many times. Yeah, scrims and Champions Queue is one thing when people are willing to take risks and willing to go for way more of these all-ins and test the limits. If there's one thing this CLG team is not afraid of, they are not afraid of on stage testing those limits.
Yeah.
Just playing it so aggressively.
Flashing forward. And for those wondering, it's not because they beat a Dignitas team that had just subbed in 3 players that we're saying this. It's because of the accumulation of what they've done this split. They definitely have a chance to contend.
Yeah, and with that, we are going to hear from someone on CLG. We're joining LeTigress and Luger now for our Verizon post-game interview.
Welcome, everyone, to our last Verizon postgame interview of the day. I've got Luger after another CLG victory, 2-0 on the week. How are your spirits right now?
Yeah, I think we feel great, like with my team. We did a good job, I think, in this week, and yeah, hope we keep going like that.
Why was this the game for you to bring out the Draven in the way you did, and why was it so good?
Draven is kind of good against Kalista, I think, as a champion. And if you snowball early game, I think is pretty good champion. And we did a good job to snowball game. Yeah.
You also did enough of a good job to be player of the game, so congratulations on that.
You.
This was definitely a fun game to watch from the beginning. From CLG's side, you're all playing so aggressively, so proactively. How were you able to do that?
Like as a team or like just this game?
I mean, both. As a team together, we're being very proactive, but even you, even in lane in the 2v2s, you were really going for it.
I mean, we have Draven, so like I cannot go back. Like I just need to play aggressive, so it's just my champion though. So I just good play around my aggression, and yeah, I mean, with the team, I think we did a good job. Just like last fight, I think we just like last fights, we just like too much to go enemy team, and we just. It's fine. I mean, we just like has too much lead, and yeah, doesn't matter, I guess.
You hit the gas pedal so hard, you know, you don't want to hit any of the brakes there.
Yeah.
And CLG has been hitting that gas really hard because it wasn't just the victories this week, a big victory last week. What does that do in terms of the team being able to push forward for these last games with playoffs on the line? How does that motivate you with the success?
I think so. I mean, probably like is like playoffs is gonna be like hard for us, like because I think we played this week's kind of like maybe like not good teams, but I think the playoffs. I think we have like good pocket picks or like good picks to like to win games. So I think I'll come confident to like on the playoffs, and we can win like against any team. So yeah, I mean.
Yeah, you don't seem as hot on the teams you played this week, but next week you do have Cloud9 and FlyQuest. What do you think of them as opponents?
I mean, the both team is looking strong in these weeks. So yeah, it's gonna be probably like a good match for us. Like yeah, I think this is probably gonna be like better than these matches, like these our enemies. But yeah.
Anything that you are going to do or eat or drink or get yourself amped up for to prepare for your match with Cloud9?
I mean, I like to drink Red Bull. I just like a taste. But yeah, he give me energy, I guess, as well. Yeah.
Energy in the soul, good taste for the mouth.
Yeah,
there you go.
That's good.
Well, congrats on popping off today and another victory for CLG. Appreciate the interview.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
That does wrap up our time on the stage here today. Let's send things on over to the State Farm Analyst Desk.
Right now.
Thank you so much, LeTigress, and welcome back to the State Farm Analyst Desk. Closing out the weekend with another CLG victory. And that's really the main topic I want to discuss. It's an 8-5 CLG, and yesterday in waiting room we had set out in front of us, Emily, the idea of a 2-0 performance and moving to that 8-5, that really becomes a demarcator for what this team is capable of and how they should be respected.
Yeah, and it's so important, like whenever we talk about teams, okay, how good are they? We knew that in-game eye test CLG are doing a lot of really good things. But then to come out and in, again, very volatile best-of-1 situations, beat the teams that they're expected to beat if they are a top team. I'm so happy that CLG was able to come out and have such a strong week.
And be able to rob the teams that are higher in the standings. Specifically, the Team Liquid win recently was the one that I'm focusing on. And so, like, this team is great. And I feel like people will always be pleasantly surprised and confused when it's like, where did this, like, where did all this success come from? Like, wait a minute.
I just watched these guys in spring. They're not good.
Yeah, wait a minute. They're at bottom of the table. We were memeing them.
I mean, 6 wins in spring, Mark.
That's what I want to say. Yeah, they have already had 2 more wins in the entirety of spring. They finished 6-12 then, 8-5 now. It's insane how much better they've become. And I know Dhokla came in, but like a strong part of it is just the rest of the members stepping up. And it's rare, it feels like, in North America to see a group of 4 or 5 players stick together and in the course of a split and a half completely change their story.
Exactly, and it's the whole idea of that, like, the iceberg conversation. You see 20% of the iceberg, but it's like you...
I was wondering where this was going. I was like, is this going to be
iceberg
conversation? A Titanic?
Crashing.
When we eat, we're good.
But no, but
the polar bears. Sorry.
But like 80% of the conversation, or at least 80% I feel like of the change is like, yeah, the holistic change of CLG as an organization. Like, they brought in a humongous staff, right?
Yeah.
The player coaches is the biggest piece, like the management side of it. Yes, they made a change in the top lane, but that is not indicative of the change that happened the entire map. So it was the fact that they came in spring, knew that they were failing, and like made those tweaks internally, went into the offseason, came to Korea, went back, still working on their game, came back, and it looks like they're much better.
And this is why the setting of expectations and goals is so important, is because they didn't come into spring like, we're going to win playoffs. You know, like, obviously they wanted to do well. Everyone wants to do well, but like, they didn't feel pressured because things were not going well. Yeah, it's like, we're a developmental roster and actually improving and setting our goal on improvement, not a placing in the standings, I think is a big reason that this team didn't implode when things were not immediately going well.
I'm going to just attribute it all to the Fox Nest.
The Fox Nest, that's true.
Did you catch that yesterday?
You didn't catch it?
CLG's content? Oh, okay. Well,
you need to watch it. You need to watch it.
It's brilliant.
Let's just say, if I ever have a bad segment on this broadcast,
oh, wait, you're talking about the thing where he's in the attic.
We better have a Fox Nest. I need a ladder to get up there.
I wouldn't trust
We're not going to be able to get Raz down. He just lives in the rafters. Let's go over the pogs for the day, the top individual performers from each of our 5 games. It was Chime in game number 1, finally pulling out that bar that Raz said we would never see. Not 30 seconds before it was locked in. Inspired in game number 2 before Berserker picked up the honors in that match against Team Liquid. Smack dab in the middle of the day, Sunday and Luger.
Oh, we missed a mid laner. We could have had a team.
We could have had a team.
Brutal. But this is the overall leaderboard. It's still Sunday up top the table alongside Jakui. So 2 share the top spot with 4 pogs apiece. Inspired, Fudge, and Bjergsen not far behind.
Bunch of 3s. I bet there's a couple others. Are there any other 3s? Or is it just these guys?
Good question. I'll wait to get
We can only fit 5 on the graphic
before I lie to you.
There's 4?
There are more.
There are more.
Oh. There are more.
But for
Lots
me,
of
the
people with-
takeaway is just someday. Someday, as we talked about him last split, how he improved demonstrably from the year prior. And also, like, it just feels like he's having fun. The Kali pick that he had recently, the Silas pick actually just the day before, going into Hoon, like, he's willing to play a lot of options because the team is playing around him well enough. He himself has improved incredibly. He's a star.
Those are the individual honors for the day and over the course of the split. Now it's time to award our MasterCard Player of the Week. And it goes to Cloud9's Berserker. I mean, the man goes deathless. He picks up a pentakill. He takes down TL. I mean, it was a smashing week for this guy.
Yeah, I mean, I started off waiting room with my super cold takes, which, guys, I was not
Getting
saying
colder.
they were hot
Top three?
And I was like, Berserker is still a top 3 AD carry because we haven't been talking about him that
We
much,
haven't.
right? Like, we've been talking about a lot of individuals on Cloud9, maybe some of their struggles with consistency. Berserker is still just a phenomenal AD carry, and I was in particular, obviously we're going to see the Zeri pentakill again, but I was impressed with how he piloted the Kalista around objectives in teamfights today.
And laning in particular is what I love about this week for him because he, in the past, when he was coming up with Winsome, and then when Sven initially role swapped, it was pretty hot and cold, his laning phase, not because of him, but maybe not getting the synergy with his supports down. This weekend was like, I'm a beast in lane 2, and that Kalista game, to your point, kind of proved that, and that you can play through me, and I like that extra angle being added in.
Yeah, and the insight that we got from Fudge in the interview yesterday really was great because, like, C9 as a team is more on page, and who's the biggest benefit of that is the AD carry and Berserker in team fights being able to play out fights properly. So we got the pentakill, we got the Kalista gameplay. It feels like we're getting the Berserker that we saw from last split, and it's just beautiful to see.
And all of Cloud9 kind of slotting around him, right? It took Jensen reminding me, at least today, that they're 8-2 with the intended roster, right? Where I think it's also easy to kind of look at their overall record and maybe dock them, a point or two from where they actually are in terms of ability and skill level as a team. Let's pull up the Samsung SSD Fast 5, though, for the week and check in on those individual categories and stats that we track for each of the lanes.
I want to shout out Chime again. His understanding, I'm assuming this is from today, his understanding of how to play the Bard. You know it in theory because of his name, because of his reputation on it, but seeing it in action, seeing him just roam up super early, Raz is like, he's just gonna plop the Coco down, isn't he?
There it is.
And he just took over that game entirely. That was so cool.
Shout out to Palafox staying on top after beating Bjergsen last week. A lot of people are like, why are people gassing up Palafox after one good game? And it's like, well, how about a couple more?
Also loved him on Hotline League.
Yeah,
Great guest
great.
for that earlier in the week. I was going to call out Blabber because we're back to the dominant Blabber that we know. We have the Olaf game. He tweeted it out. Olaf is back. And I'm always excited for a Blabber that feels unleashed.
The jungle list on that one was great. It was Blabber, it was Closer, and the third name for me, River, who was on that list, right? And so I know that team is struggling still because they made that change very recently. So I'm excited to see what next week looks like. River with some good practice with the team.
Give them another week of practice
There we
and
go.
see what they can get done. Now, congrats to those of you who earned bonus points on the LCS Sleeper Fantasy app for having this week's top performers in your lineup. Brings us to the end of the day, so we got to check in on the standings just before we send you away. It's Evil Geniuses still in first place with 100 Thieves hot on their heels. We've got a tie for third, Cloud9, CLG, and Team Liquid Honda. FlyQuest locking down sixth before we get to Golden Guardians and TSM. Immortals, Progressive, and Dignitas will close us out when it comes to the standings.
Yeah, I'm sweating a little bit. We were talking about the bet that we made about who's going to end top 5. I had FlyQuest, Raz had CLG, Jatt had TSM.
Rest in peace.
Ripperoni, he's eating a pepper. It's about which of us two is joining him because it feels like it's between those two right now. I think Golden Guardians have slipped far enough that it's basically the CLG FlyQuest. There's a chance Team Liquid keeps slipping. I'm not going to count it out. Who knows?
It might happen, and it's nice to be able to see that CLG is remaining firm, but FlyQuest is a team, even though in the last 5 they're 2-3, like, their games are still fun to watch. They're still taking chances when they can, and so it's like fun to be able to watch and track, specifically Tukui and Jose Diodo and how they perform.
It's also really interesting to see this entire middle of the pack because our Super Week is the final week.
Yeah.
There's actually so many gigantic swings that can happen in that last week for teams.
Especially strength of schedule. Like, we didn't talk a ton about it, but FlyQuest had EG and 100 Thieves this weekend, and they dropped both those games. They were kind of competitive at certain points in them, and I think, you know, it's a weekend where a 0-2 is not unexpected, where CLG had the teams below them in the standings, and they were able to lay out the 2-0.
And that's the thing, Dash. These next 2 weeks, that's where we're just going to be talking about the road to playoffs. 5 games left for all of these teams. 3 games in the final week, and of course 2 games coming up. So it's going to be really fun to see.
I just watched you make that realization.
Yeah. I was like, wait a minute.
I didn't want to correct you. It didn't matter. Another quick reminder, though, when it comes to standings, is that both Evil Geniuses and 100 Thieves are already locked for that postseason. But as you mentioned,
let's go.
we'll keep updating as we get closer and closer. People are going to be fighting for seeds and position when it comes to that bracket. Schedule for next week. Closer will be joining us. He's going to be the next of the pros who jumps onto the desk and the cast next week. But we kick things off with Golden Guardian versus 100 Thieves, Evil Geniuses, TSM just after that. FlyQuest and Team Liquid. That's the third matchup of the day before we get to Cloud9 versus CLG. That's a huge one. We're going to come back and talk about that in a moment. And Dignitas Immortals Progressive to close things out. I think, yeah, spotlight on game number 4 of the day, Cloud9 CLG, because of the closeness that we talked about at the top of the table there.
At this point of the time, when we're going to playoffs, we're just looking at what it takes to at least get higher up in the standings, because of top 4 means a lot. Being able to escape the bottom bracket is going to be really important.
Well, but also just because I think there still is this kind of pervasive expectation that it's going to be EG, 100 Thieves, Cloud9, TL, kind of in the end, right?
True.
And that's why that CLG game is going to be so interesting for me, because it's the proof case. Okay, you've now beaten everyone we expect you to beat. Can you start, just like you did with Team Liquid, can you start taking down the people just above you?
Game 3 right before it, Team Liquid FlyQuest
That's
is
a
the
big one.
exact same scenario, basically.
You're right, and a big recovery moment for FlyQuest. TL even after the stumble today against Cloud9. Lots of big matchups next week, so make sure you tune in. But I also want to take a moment to invite you all to join myself, LeTigress, Abadaga, and Closer in the Bud Light League Lounge, which will take place on twitch.tv/Bud Light right after this, or you can wait for the raid from this channel. That's it for us, though. So on behalf of myself, the casters, the entire broadcast crew, thank you for watching. We'll see you later for more LCS. Stay healthy, stay safe, be good to each other. Your host one, Emily, and Raz, you're no longer allowed to throw it ever again.
Last week.
Good night, everybody.
Take it easy.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, maybe 1. At the same time.
River wants to go in, and he's going to try, and he's going to get it. Wow, he's going to Rip Peril. But a fight. Yeah, a double ult, though, buying some time for Chime. Nice scoop by Maple. Is it going to be enough? A quick shield for Senna. Meganar scoops in the wall, flash to safety. One for nothing. Good. They've got package. Ablaze Olive wants in. Catch the bait, goes for solo, flashes back. Will not burn. 3 unanswered kills, and there's the scoop in for Maple.
Another win for EG, but Philip is first to move, so they still might look to continue this.
I just could have been killing the Vulcan. That kick lands, there's a flash away. Oh! He gets that back. That was so nice. He is.
He's also very good at
Wow, flashy for the slow. Is that really going to be enough damage, though? He's purely going for the solo kill now. Jose Diego flashed in to nearly kill himself. Has to kick away. No, he did. Here comes the re-engage up from the front line. Has Yildi up for now, but he's still going to drop one. Jojo. Scoop comes in, and it's going to be a deletion. Everyone's going to fall here. FlyQuest will die at the hands of Evil.
But you think Jensen can win 1v1 against Dirksen? Real life?
Like fight.
Oh.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Oh.
Jensen is strong, by the way.
Here we go. The fight's ready to break out now, and Sven is already down. Blabber stuck in the middle of everybody as Bwippo will try to cut Jensen to pieces. The shutdown comes through for Björn, and C9 scrambles to try to find a little bit more here in the fight. Berserker's still going forward, and they've turned it around. Abadaga with some nice side steps, but not nice enough.
Look, Gragas, he flashed in, Kill Gragas. Kill Gragas.
Nice and done, stay alive. Sunday's coming in, and 100 Thieves are looking to go even further. Kenby's already on a killing spree, though, as Closer has jumped in, trying to find a little bit more. Immortals have already lost 2. 100 Thieves have only lost the 1.
What a game. Fight better. Always wins.
Oh my god.
It's a huge camera, man.
Make the heart on the camera.
Yeah, make a heart, bro. Make a heart, bro.
Your girl will be watching.
Oh.
Cringe.
Hey, let's go!
Poome gonna pull one in there. Spawn going straight for it, but the Ignite already down. Spawn in trouble, level 1. It's absolute carnage in the bottom side, and Draven couldn't even cash in, still gets the first blood, but Bio finds one back, but Luger hunting for a second kill. eXyu goes in the wrong direction. Luger's gonna keep on ordering. One more is all he needs, and Luger finds 2. Didn't know ulti though, but Luger's just going in for it. You have to make sure it happens. Bail out there. Poome not gonna get bailed out, but it will be a trade. Draven gets some more gold. Make it a second as Spawn goes down.
The recipe. They've got all the ingredients.
Spawn ulti on the way. Dhokla already popped the ulti as well, and the damage is just a little bit too much. Spawn though is gonna hop away, but eXyu's not so lucky, and there's the double out of Luger. Looking for the third as